The end of the latest One Piece chapter may have just teased the reveal of the biggest mystery on Elbaf so far: the true nature of Loki's Devil Fruit. Today we're going to discuss how Oda very discreetly revealed Loki's true power in his Devil Fruit and discuss exactly what that power is. But before we start, make sure to like and subscribe, and if you enjoyed this video, make sure to stick around as we delve into Elbaf's weekly mysteries with every new chapter. So first, before we get to the juicy stuff, let's go over a very important refresher on what we know about Loki and the legendary Devil Fruit he possesses. The Elbaf royal family is known for passing down a legendary Devil Fruit, and the late King Harold was supposed to give it to his first son, Hyrden, who is part of Luffy's Grand Fleet. Once we find this out, it is then that we learn Hyrden's younger brother Loki ended up killing Harold, stealing the legendary Devil Fruit, and escaping Elbaf. Right after that, Shanks captured him, brought him back to Elbaf, and the giants strapped him to the treasure tree Atom in sea stone cuffs so that he wouldn't be able to use this Devil Fruit and was permanently locked in the undead realm. The Devil Fruit is said to possess capabilities of destroying Elbaf, especially in Loki's hands, so nobody on the island wants to free Loki. They want him to remain locked up here for the rest of his life. That is until, of course, Luffy comes along and frees Loki. Now, I do think there's a very strong possibility that in gaining this Devil Fruit, Loki killed an evil Herald and is not actually that evil himself. You can check out this video if you want to learn more about that, but today we're not going to be talking about that. We're just going to be discussing what this Devil Fruit is and what it is capable of. So, Luffy and Zoro get to Loki and they finally free him in front of all the other giants who are now panicking that Loki is free. With all of this build-up to Loki's legendary Devil Fruit and him potentially destroying Elbaf, you'd imagine now that we got this dramatic panel of him standing up, we're very soon going to see what he's capable of. But actually, Zoro was pretty smart and kept a sea stone cuff wrapped around Loki's leg, so maybe that's not the case. Well, to that, I would say, I think we're actually falling to a bit of misdirection here. We are actually going to see what Loki's capable of, despite the sea stone cuffs still being wrapped around him, and that is because of what Hyrden immediately focuses on when Loki stands up, and that is Loki's hammer. And that's going to be the main focus of this video, exploring the claim that the legendary Devil Fruit passed on to Loki is actually Ragnir, his hammer. Now, there's probably a million possibilities coursing through your head as to what I mean by Loki's Devil Fruit is the hammer, but there's actually a lot of evidence for this being the case, both thematically and logically, so let's get through all of that first. First, logistically, I want to talk about how the giants would have previously passed down this legendary Devil Fruit. We know that when a Devil Fruit user dies, the closest non-Devil fruit to this user becomes that Devil Fruit. We saw this with Smiley in Punk Hazard. But I think this makes for a little bit of a convoluted process in passing down a Devil Fruit amongst the Giants family. Would a member of the royal family just have to wait at the deathbed of the Devil Fruit user for them to pass away and obtain the Devil Fruit? Or would the Devil Fruit user kill themselves on purpose so that the fruit would purposely populate close to where they are? What I'm getting at here is I think it would be much easier to pass down a physical object instead of an actual Devil Fruit where you have to make the Devil Fruit appear again after the user dies. And of course, a hammer would fulfill these conditions much easier. It is way easier to pass down a hammer instead of an actual Devil Fruit. Not to mention, the hammer itself very clearly exemplifies Norse mythology. We are all very familiar with Thor's hammer in Norse mythology, and of course Elbaf is very rooted in this type of mythology, so it would not be a surprise at all for the legendary Devil Fruit passed on through the Elbaf family is actually a hammer. Now, if you have a critical mind, there are two criticisms to this claim that you're thinking of right now. The first, maybe a little bit far-fetched, is that in the throne room where Harold died, there is scratch marks on the wall. So if the hammer is the Devil Fruit, that wouldn't make any sense because we all thought Loki might have a zone-type fruit. The second criticism is that if they subdued Loki and captured him and strapped him to the Atom Tree, why did they just steal the hammer back? Why is it still strapped to the tree with him? Well, I actually think both of these criticisms are valid. However, both of them are solved by one point. And it's actually something we've seen already in this arc with Shamrock. The hammer's Devil Fruit is a zone type. When we learned that Luffy's real fruit was the Nika fruit, the Gorosei told us that zone fruits have a will of their own, and Luffy's fruit had been evading them for centuries. So as far as the matter of the scratch marks, what if the hammer is a zone-type wolf, perhaps Fenrir from Norse mythology, the fruit we all thought Loki would have, and that's what caused the scratch marks in the throne room? And also, because it's a zone type, it has a will of its own, and was able to stay with Loki despite Loki being defeated, and refused to go to anyone else on Elbaf because the fruit had already taken a liking to Loki. And I know I said I wasn't going to talk about it that much in this video, but this would also help the claim that Loki's actually a good guy. If the Devil Fruit was the only witness to Loki's heroic acts in the throne room, it would realize that Loki's actually the good guy in the scenario and would want to stay with him rather than any of the other giants. So, that's all the logistic evidence that Loki's Devil Fruit is actually a Devil Fruit hammer, but what about thematic relevance for the story? Well, as we all know, Elbaf is supposed to be Usopp's arc. Usopp has been waiting to come to Elbaf since literally Little Garden 1,000 chapters ago, so how do these two things tie together? Well, first off, every time any giant categorizes Loki, they call him a lying scum. He resorts to trickery, he lies to his friends, and he is always scheming. Well, the only other character in the story that we know is a huge liar is Usopp, so I immediately think Loki and Usopp might have some kind of connection in Elbaf. And secondly, although this one is kind of a meme, we know Usopp has been using hammers in the past in the story, and always claims to possess a 10-ton hammer against his enemies. Of course, if Loki's hammer is actually a Devil Fruit and it is a legendary weapon, it could not only make this lie that Usopp says true, it could be the Usopp power-up we have all been waiting for, in the arc we have all been waiting for Usopp to shine in. So pretty much everything clicks both logistically and thematically for Loki's Devil Fruit to actually be a Devil Fruit that resides in the hammer. Now lastly, let's talk about what this Devil Fruit could possibly do. I did say that it's possible that the Devil Fruit's power is Fenrir, an ancient zone wolf, which is why the throne room had scratch marks on it, but I also think there's going to be a lot more to this Devil Fruit for it to be considered legendary and capable of destroying Elbaf. And I think the first clue to that is what the hammer's name is, Ragnir. In the Japanese version of this chapter, Ragnir is spelled with the kanji tetsu, meaning iron, and rai or kaminari, meaning thunder, so iron thunder. And if this Devil Fruit has the power to destroy Elbaf like every giant has told us, it's actually quite interesting that it contains the kanji for thunder, because in this very chapter, we got Ripley telling us that the biggest weakness of Elbaf and the Atom Tree in general is thunder and fire because it burns. I don't think it's any coincidence that Oda chose to include this line of dialogue, this chapter, the exact chapter where Loki got freed, because Loki's capabilities of destroying Elbaf come from this power itself, the hammer that possesses a zone type that also has the power of thunder. Going back to Norse mythology, it would also check out that this hammer has the power to use thunder because it literally is Thor's hammer from Norse mythology. But apart from that, everything just clicks. If the hammer was a zone type Devil Fruit, it would cause the scratches in the throne room, it would stay with Loki because it was a witness to what actually happened in the throne room, and it would have the power to destroy Elbaf like all the giants have been waiting for. And of course it means the next chapter when we get to see Loki, all of this buildup will not have been for nothing, despite the Sea Stone actually being attached to Loki, because we actually will get to see what he can do, because the hammer will be freed. Thanks for watching this far into the video. If you liked it, make sure to like and subscribe. Comment down below if you agree with everything I just said, or if you think I'm crazy and none of this is going to come true. And remember to stick around if you want to see more analysis like this as the weekly Elbaf chapters drop. I'm going to try my best to delve into the depths of every chapter and find all the little secrets that Oda is leaving for us, and I'd love to have you along the ride. Thanks for watching, and until next time.